Hello, everybody. Hello and welcome. Hi. It is lovely to see you all here. This is our Foxhole Fridays, and we have a special excitement for you, and that is, as you know, on Sundays we have been running the amazing uh, No Seasons of Death Summer with the amazing RE Ventures as Agent Codename Prometheus, uh, who is an ex-Interpol agent on the run, trying to track down and figure out what's going on with the vampire conspiracy. And we had to record this on Monday night so that we could get it to you before either they went away, where they currently are driving away, and before I go away, because I'm going to be gone for 1 week, 7 days in the woods playing a lot of board games. But we did want to get the finale to you before everything was done. So today will be the finale of No Grave for Traitors, Part 4. We have a lot of stuff, amazing things to talk about, and I'm going to get most of those things at the end. I believe, I'm pretty sure past me said all the things that needed to be said. Right now, Ari is in the chat. I will be in the chat the entire time. I may show up being mysterious in moments. You don't know. We can't see. We also have a surprise at the end. And when we're done, this is going to be about 3 hours exactly, 3 hours, 15 minutes, something like that. I will let you know what we'll be doing when we get back in a week. And let me tell you, it is going to involve many things, and one of the spoilers is Cthulhu Confidential. But with all of that said, if I am not responsible in the past and didn't say all the things I needed to say, I will show up and make sure it happens. But now, without further ado, let me have past self say all the things that need to be said. Hello, everyone. Hello and welcome. This is the Academic Foxhole. We're doing a very special pre-recorded excitement. But if you're watching this, I'm here in chat. Just, just so you know. Um, Hi, everybody. Tales from the Foxhole. We are finishing our adventure, Seasons of Death, Summer, No Grave for Traitors. This was our Knights Black Agent solo op special um, short shot little mini series with one of my favorite people ever. And when we last left off, we left off at the climax. And so we had to come together and do this recording so we could get this out before would be the next time we would be in the same place together, which is like a fortnight. So thank you for being here. I feel like there's a bunch of pre-roll stuff that I don't think I need to do because I'm probably going to do it live. Oh, but then I probably didn't need to do. You know what? Don't worry about it. I'm going to tell you. No, I won't. Yes, I will. Hey, thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting us. And I'll probably do a pause and voiceover. Don't worry about it. It's fine. So the other me already has done that. Let me go and introduce my most best player. I know the other, like, there's like, the other me didn't do it. See, this is what I meant. Hi. I see, past me thought that present me would do it, and so now I have to do it. I was like hanging out, relaxing, but apparently I've got to come back on screen and do some stuff. Hey, thank you for supporting us. I suppose what I should say is, before I let irresponsible past me back onto the moment, I should say, thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting us. Everybody who watches us live or on YouTube, thank you. If you're watching us on YouTube, please do give a like, subscribe, make a comment. That's very kind of you if you do. If you are here, thank you. Let other people know we're here if you want to. You don't have to. I'm not the boss of you. You can do whatever you want. But if you like, you can tell people that we're here so they can show up as well. And then let's see, what else should I tell you? You can give us tips and bits if you like. And if you do, I will, at the end, I will read out any comments that you've given when I interrupt this sort of shenanigans to, to say whatever comments you've said. You can also join our Patreon, which is at Academic Foxhole on Patreon. And all of that goes to support the cast, paying the cast to make sure they can pay for the therapy that they need because I torture them so badly. You can also join our Discord. We've got a merch shop, which is at Fourth Wall. There should be a link in the bottom in there to sort of find it. Be sure to address the comment to the right temporal version of Trooper and Ari. I know they really should. They've got to go and deal with like timey-wimey mysteriousnesses. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for supporting the show. I appreciate you very, very much. I appreciate all of your comments. I appreciate all your love. But I'm going to just leave now and let them get back to it because Ari is going to be tortured quite terribly the entire time. And I, for one, am here for it. You'll see me, you know, later, probably. You will. You will. Probably like a virtual live me that's probably actually existing right now on the internet, who's actually speaking to them, who already did all of that. And so I'm just the pre-recorded me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The real me's up
I
there
assume
somewhere.
you just answered you.
No, I'm here. That's what I'm not here. I hope so. I'm not up. I'm down. Time travel.
And when I say real, I mean like future you. How do we like future you?
Future me.
I think future you just answered you.
I'm present me, but yeah, it's fine. Yes, hey, future me. And I'm present me. Oh, hey. So all of that was done by future me. I am going to go and introduce my player. I am so honored that my player has agreed to come and do this quick, let's record the climax of our story so we can get it out there for you all, even though they have to wake up at dark 30. And so this is dedication. So thank you to a great player, a great friend, a person who probably needs about as much sleep as I do, but probably gets also about as much sleep as I do, and those numbers are not the same. The one, the only, Ari Ventures. Hello, who are you and who are you playing?
Hello, I'm Ari Ventures, and those numbers are absolutely not the same. They are very different numbers, but you know what? We all make adult decisions about how we want to spend our time, and that is one of the decisions I make regularly. Anyway, what was I gonna say? I'm Ari Ventures. Oh, I'm playing Chrys, Prometheus. That is their code name, and they have been hunting down they originally thought they were hunting down the being vampire that killed their best friend, but they have uncovered significantly more than that, and they're very, at this point, they're a little hurt. They've got a lot of problems to deal with, but they're not backing down.
Hey, I've got a question for you.
Yeah, I have an answer for you.
Am I correct in remembering that you don't know who the vampire was who killed your friend?
That we did not, in fact, have a conversation. There was mostly just the vampire attacking Lana, and then Chrys attacking said vampire, and then Chrys running because said vampire was very strong, which doesn't bode well for this climax, I think.
And there's a lot of blood, right? Both yours and the vampire's
lot of blood. Yeah. I think I got like scraped up. There's this nice long scar that is on their forearm right now. Yeah.
Nice. So there are a lot of things that I just want to chat with you about before we get into it. So
you don't have to say it like that.
Oh, I do, because the things I want to share with you, you know. So our agent in this adventure has been following the money, going from what seemed to be, you know, a kind of like a crime situation to something else. In the part of this process, they have discovered that there was this crime lord who got set up to be assassinated by a different crime lord. And it kind of looks like maybe this particular person who works for the vampires might have been involved in all of that. But why? Probably for money. But why? Because he needed to buy an entire lot of antiques, goods, estate items from a Russian, Konstantin, whose ancestor, grandfather, great-grandfather, earlier was involved in was a was hired by, worked with a very important person named Baron Vordenberg, who seemed to perhaps be a vampire hunter back in the day, who had some sort of secrets, perhaps. I mean, the word vampire was not used, but the word like other words were used. Um, However, sort of like an implication this person might have been some sort of vampire hunter from a century ago. And this person, this Russian soldier who worked for this vampire hunter, they seem to have raided a castle, killed a vampire named Kobori, and there was a key, a special key that would get you into this castle. And uh, that key was hidden in this estate. And our fellow, our Hollister is his name, who works for, as we come to learn, the Hungarian line of vampires. Um, for a very long time, he's worked with them, but he seems to be frustrated that he has not been turned into a vampire by them. Apparently, they're quite stingy with that. We don't know what that's about. And he figured that maybe waking up a vampire from the Transylvanian line might get him turned into a vampire. Because after all, a brand new, newly awoken vampire probably needs some uh, vampire childer to help them out in various ways. And so that seems like a great way to get into power. Got the sense that maybe the Transylvanian vampires and the Hungarian vampires are not the best of friends. Uh, some sort of rivalry between them. And our protagonist, they, having made a deal with Hollister, at least to Hollister's mind, although actually they did they did do their part of the deal, which was making a distraction so that Hollister could slip out of the country to get there, slip out of the country, out of the sight of the Hungarian vampires that he works for. And Prometheus found a grad student who broke into the same museum that they had broken into, but they broke into it as a professional, and the grad student broke into it as not a
Oh my
professional,
god. They
setting off
ruined
all the
everything.
alarms. They ruined everything. But the grad student had been to this castle before, or hadn't been to the castle itself, but been quite close to it, which caused that it was like an ill-fated field work trip by a professor named Jarek, who is in league with Hollister now, and their whole goal is to wake this ancient vampire Kobori. And uh, that's why they need the key. They're off there to Romania to go and figure this out. Prometheus is also in Romania, also to figure it out. And Prometheus and Carmen, the student, traveled together. Carmen was trying to figure out how to get back and got more and more certain as time went on about where to find the way. And then as they slept, before they could get there, the vampire Kobori, uh, who had enthralled our grad student, how? That's a good question. Apparently, you got to worry about these things. And this thrall tried to, after trying to get lots of information from Chrys, uh, tried to kill Chrys. This grad student, however, is a grad student, and Chrys took care of that pretty quickly and knocked our grad student unconscious. And then, in the middle of the rain, in the middle of the night, saw a glowing light from up in the hills, the mountains of Romania. And there saw in the distance the castle of the devil Kobori come materializing into existence. This is where we left off, and this is where we begin again. We begin in, well, I can't pull back the curtains yet because I have to tell you something. I think there are a couple of things we need to discuss before we go any further.
Okay.
Yeah,
Excellent. I mean, awful. I mean, I don't know what I mean.
a couple of things. One, you have three problem trackers: injury, shadow, and heat. You
Mhm.
currently, and they range from 0 to 5. You currently have
Mhm.
a heat of 0. That's great.
Thank you.
hmm You also have an injury. You have 1 hurt card. Um, your
Mhm.
injury's back down to 0, but you do have 1 hurt, which means you're at a -1 to all physical tests until this operation is over.
Mhm.
And you have a shadow score of 3. Now you'll say, but I have Hollister's aid and it's suppressing that shadow score.
Mhm.
Well, problem is that Hollister cannot aid in suppressing your shadow here because this is not London or Western Europe or the parts of the world he has influence over. However, you do not have to discard this card because currently Hollister still believes you two to be allies, which means that this is still in effect once you get out of the mountains of Romania. So you're at Shadow 3.
I'm at Shadow 3 right now. Okay.
That is
Okay.
correct.
How uh how long have I been at Shadow 3? Was I at Shadow 3 on the plane?
Yes. No, not until you got out of the city of Bucharest. In Bucharest, you still were at
Oh,
Shadow 2.
okay. So
If
when
you're
I
at
was
Shadow 3,
sleeping and the mice were there and the bees
Shadow
were
2.
there, that was all Shadow 2.
Yeah, that
Oh,
was
well,
Shadow
that's
2.
fun. Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
Shadow 3 is worse than that, really. So, yeah.
Isn't that
Anyhow,
fun?
yeah, let's hope you don't take time now. Um, but there's one other thing I do need to bring up before I send you off on your way into the rain.
Mhm.
And that is a thing about the game that I told you once a long time ago. Before, when I pitched this game to you, when I was describing
Uh-huh.
how the system worked,
Uh-huh.
I told you something, and I need to tell you again. But
Okay.
when I told you before, it had a different vibe than I think it will have now. In this game, your protagonist cannot die until the end of the adventure, the end of the operation. Cannot die in London, cannot die in Spain. You can, however, get a serious injury, which means if you're still holding that serious injury by the end of the operation, then you will die. But you tend to know, oh, well, this is one of those things that I'm going to die really soon unless I take care of this. But generally speaking, there's no death. I mean, there's like big problems, and maybe it's no good um, until we get to the end of the operation. And once we get to the end of the operation, then you can die. We are now at the end of the operation.
Does the hurt that I have, that it's only
hmm
blood, maybe not even your blood, will that kill me
No,
at the end of this operation? Okay.
no, it's just hurt. Now, you notice it says discard at the
Okay.
end of the adventure,
Excellent.
right? If
Excellent.
you make it through this, that hurt card will go away. A number of things will go away, actually. Um,
If.
but if, but I do need to let you know that this is the end of the operation. Whatever tools you have, you will need to use them now. And whatever, this is it.
All or nothing. That's what I'm hearing.
And so, as the rain begins to fall in this dark and stormy night in the mountains of Romania, your graduate student knocked fully unconscious behind you. A glowing castle ahead of you.
And tied up.
and tied up.
Unconscious and tied up.
That's fine. Speaking of which, the audience cannot currently hear this. Oh no, they should be able to hear it. Yeah, they can hear it. So.
Oh, the rain? Yeah, they've got to be able to hear the rain.
I just double checked. They could. I was like, oh, did I? But I did. So, what do you do?
So I can see this thing in the distance. I just got attacked.
Mm-hmm.
What was the date that I was supposed to meet Hollister in Bucharest? We'd said we were going to meet.
Same day.
Was it today?
Well, it is today because it's only a 3-hour flight.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. How long does taking time take? Like, is that 8 hours?
Taking time, it sort of depends on what you need to do to take time for. Taking time to depends. Like if you're traveling, taking time takes about 3 hours. Depends on what you're doing to take time. You know what I mean?
I think if I take time, I'm gonna miss Hollister trying to wake up Kobori, and I don't want to do that. So I think we're just gonna go. That's exactly what would happen. All right, well, we're just gonna go in half cocked. So here we go. I think that Chrys would then. They would put Carmen's phone near her, so like Carmen can access her phone to text Chrys.
Yeah.
But they tied up Carmen pretty well. I think they want to make sure that Carmen does not come after them again.
And how's Carmen going to use their phone to text if you tie them up really good?
Well, their hands are in the front. I mean, you can like.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice because you could
can't move them anywhere, but they're in front with the phone right here. Think of it like all of it's duct taped all the way around, and you've just got like the phone, like it's like this, right?
Yeah.
Hope you don't drop the phone.
Oh, that's nice. That's very kind of you.
Isn't it thoughtful? Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. It wasn't Carmen's fault.
Oh, I don't think it was. That's why she gets her phone to play games or text me or whatever she needs.
Yeah.
And at the same time, she does not get to come after me again. Well, Chrys tries to make sure that won't be the case.
Yeah. So, with your 4 problems, 2 edges, 2 edge masteries, and 3 contacts, 4 contacts technically. There's one more that I have to make a new card for. What do you do?
We're gonna head up to the castle. I think on the way there, though, Chrys is 110% chain smoking their way as they're driving. Like, just
you don't want to drive
like the whole way.
This is walking.
It's not drivable. Oh, well, then we're chain smoking our way as we walk. And it's just like, I imagine there's this like, it's just a cloud of like cigarette smoke. But when they get reasonably close enough that somebody might see the cherry, then they're going to extinguish the cigarettes and not smoke anymore.
As you are heading closer to this glow in the distance, you get closer and closer. And you see a castle. It seems. It's hard to say. When I say that, I don't mean to say that you're not certain if it is a castle or not a castle, if it's like a fort or a castle, like how would you categorize it in terms of architecture? But more, you're not quite certain what it is you're seeing. You see Jarek. Well, you see Hollister and a man next to Hollister who you're going to have to guess is Jarek because he looks not okay. You know, glasses, hair wild, now slicked down because of the rain. And then you also see 4 other people with these 2. And these 4 other people look to you like mercenaries, thugs, goons, bodyguards of some sort. And you can see them hustling towards this light, and they're quite a bit ahead of you. And the wind is fierce, and it is icy, and it is cold. It feels inappropriately cold. And as you watch, they are at the edge of a precipice. Like there's a deep drop. And you see Hollister pull out a key, a blood red key, one that looks much like the one from that painting. And he pushes it into nothing, into the air, and he turns it. And as he does, the rain gets worse, and this wind howls and it whips, and it is rough. It seems as if all of nature itself is straining against what is happening. And the storm gets heavier and it begins to howl. And that's when there we go. There we go. A streak of lightning crossed the sky and is almost completely pitch dark. And there's cloud cover everywhere. Just flashes of lightning illuminating things. And you see Jarek begin to walk off the cliff. And as he does so, as his foot would step off of the cliff, you see his foot land in the courtyard of a medieval castle. These goons you see kind of freak out a little bit. It's hard to hear what they're saying with all of the sort of the storm. But you can see that they're like, what the hell, right? And there's a brief conversation between Hollister and one of these goons, but you don't know what they're saying. You can tell they're kind of shouting to sort of hear each other, but you don't, the wind takes their voices away. And then, after some sort of gesticulation between Hollister and these four goons, they too walk across the cliff and into the courtyard of a medieval castle. And this castle, this must have been the one that Carmen told you about, the one where the demon Kobori lived, the one where the Baron Vordenberg and these soldiers went in to destroy him. And they walk into this castle, and I will tell you this castle seems only partially to exist in this realm. Before the key was turned, it kind of wasn't really here. But once the key was turned into the air, then it did exist here in this place. And I understand that this might seem strange and not normal, but it is what it is. And they hustle into the courtyard, and they are gone.
Am I close enough to be able to slip in after them?
The gates don't shut. It's a huge medieval castle.
Oh, that's kind of worse. Okay. But the key opened them. Interesting. Okay.
The key opened it, but the key, it's not been locked. It is now open. This castle is here.
Then I think Prometheus is going to follow. They're going to try and keep enough of a distance that they are not spotted. And if there's any moment where Hollister is at a place where I could filch that key from him, I'd love to know.
When you make it up to the courtyard, you cannot see them. They must have gone inside the castle. So you are just there at the courtyard, because you have to like climb up to that space. And it's empty. There are no living beings here in this courtyard. The castle is ahead. You'd have to cross the courtyard to get there.
No living beings in the courtyard. It looks like they are in the castle. Like, is there like prints or something that I can follow? It's pretty obvious.
Also, there's a gate. There's like a doorway into the castle.
Okay.
The courtyard itself is not empty. There are things inside this courtyard, right? It's like the castle's kind of ruined, actually. It doesn't look like it's in good repair. It looks like it has seen better days. It's sort of dilapidated and run down. But there are bodies in this courtyard.
Are they human?
Would you like to search them and check them out?
Yes. Are they lying on the ground?
Yes.
Yes, one of them.
The two are actually quite close to each other.
Oh, okay.
You
There's
see
two bodies. Okay.
There are two bodies. And they're quite close to each other. The first one that you see is a dead man wearing an army uniform. A Russian army uniform.
Oh, I found him. Wait, is it from a while ago?
A 19th century Russian army uniform, as a matter of fact. Yes, indeed. There is something to note, however, about it. He seems to have been frozen to death at first glance. But, I mean, you don't really have medic, I don't think. Do you? Oh, I think you do. I think medic is a general skill, yes?
Let me double check, but I think medic is actually...
It is a general skill.
Yeah.
So you do
it's
have
a general
the skill.
ability.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, dear audience, when you use your investigative abilities, you always get information. Always. General abilities you have to roll for, unless you're trying to get information through your general ability, in which case you don't have to roll for that.
Oh.
Right? You never have to roll to get information. We'll always get information, as long as you use the appropriate skill.
I would love to use medic to get information about this. Frozen to death.
You know things about medicine, bodies, autopsies, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
This body has been dead for only a few hours. He froze to death probably just a couple of hours ago. Looking at the body itself, that doesn't really make sense, though, considering that this body is clearly over a century old. But his hands are not empty.
Okay.
His hands are gripping gold coins and jewels. Just like a bunch of gold and jewels, a goblet. There's more the body is carrying, but you can stop me whenever you want. But that's the first thing you see, a scattering of gold coins from some time in the past, and jewelry and diamonds, right? Just like some riches just scattered about.
I think we found the 10% that supposedly left the castle.
That's not... Do you pat his body down? Like how...
Yeah.
How much would...
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's got a great Russian greatcoat. And if you open up this coat for this body that just died a few hours ago, there are 3 stakes.
I'll take them.
Of the wooden variety. But it doesn't look... They don't look like your stakes. You said you picked up some stakes in Bucharest. Picked up a
yeah, I grabbed anything that might be related to vampire killing
Sure.
any and all of it.
The wood is the same for all 3 of those stakes, but it's not the same as yours.
Oh, interesting.
You just got like a wooden stake. These are
Uh-huh.
clearly a special kind of wood.
Ah. Maybe I'll
Also-
survive this yet.
Again, tell me what skills you're using. There's also a rifle.
Does the rifle have silver bullets in it?
No. It's a bear down rifle. It's a 19th century rifle. And
Okay.
it's, if you check it out, it is completely serviceable, as if it is not over a century-year old. It is clearly over a century old, but it looks like as if it is completely well serviced and usable.
I'd love to use notice as well on this, and vampirology,
Mm-hmm.
and research.
Research, you need a library for that
Nothing.
one, or the computers.
Okay, fair.
That takes time. Of course, there's the other.
We're not
hobby,
doing
too.
time.
And also, there's no
look at
library here, and your phone does not work, so you're not getting on the internet.
Oh yeah, isn't that great? I left her a
Yeah.
phone that is unusable.
Yeah. Vampirology. There was a myth. Different stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the myths was that vampires could not be killed by any sort of stake. So some myths say that vampires can be killed by any stake, right? You just need a stake and you're good. But that is not the case for all of the vampire myths. There are myths that say you can only kill a vampire with one kind of stake, one kind of wood. Oops. I would like to, if you do not mind, give you an edge.
Ooh, thank you. I absolutely don't mind. I would love an edge.
Would you share this edge?
Oh, whoops. Hang on. I need to flip it before I... Ooh. Rosewood steak. Oh, we did hear about this before. The rosewood, I want to say it was on the first or the second. It was mentioned. I have it in my notes, actually.
Was it rosewood or was it rose water?
Ooh, let me double check. Rose... Oh. No, apparently I just have it in my memory. It might have been rose water then.
Yes, there was something about the crucifix and also rose water. A rose water, but a rose water potion? There's some questions you have. You need to find some people who might know about these things.
I really do. I really do.
What is this?
Okay, sorry, I'll read this. An edge, vampire, rosewood stake. If you drive a stake of polished rosewood into the monster's heart, it'll paralyze the creature. Discard to stake a defeated or sleeping vampire. You can try using it in a fighting contest. If you do so, you're at a -2 dice, but you stake your foe on an advance. Well, a -3 for me because that's physical, and I'm hurt.
Yes, you are hurt. And it's this moment when you see these special stakes that you're like, oh, that stake that I brought, that probably won't do it.
I think
Probably
they discard those
special.
stakes,
Yeah.
and they'll take the three stakes they take off this body. I think we're going to leave the rifle, though. It doesn't have... Does it appear to be... Does vampirology or notice tell me any reason why I would want to take a 19th century rifle with me?
Well,
Compared to, like,
they're-
my Beretta?
Probably not. Well, I mean, okay, there is a reason why you might take it. You could probably sell it for money. I mean, but also probably, honestly, if you wanted money, the gold and the jewels would probably be way better than the rifle.
Yeah, and easier to carry, too. So we'll pocket some of
easier to
those
carry.
for,
Are you? Oh, I see. Excuse me, then.
Actually... I don't need to
get this for
burden
you.
myself because I can... I'm not going to
Okay.
burden myself because I can pick these up on the way back out,
One hopes. But
technically.
remember, okay. The other body.
Also, I'm going to lose them anyway if I vanish. So
If you vanish, you will lose it. Just noting it. The other body is also a man. Older. Dressed in a pair of silk pajamas and a dressing gown. You're going to guess from his mustache style and the kind of outfit, maybe the 70s.
okay.
This body is from, perhaps. He is, your notice sees not too far from him a newspaper.
No.
It's Le Monde from 1974. He's wearing slippers, like slippers that you would have, like house slippers. Also, he committed suicide. You can tell that he did because the knife that's by him is clearly a Russian army knife from the turn of the century. And this man from 1974, who looks sort of familiar to you, actually, clearly here in the courtyard of this castle, committed suicide sometime around 1974. Although his body is quite fresh, it seems like he might have only died a couple of hours ago.
Interesting.
He is familiar to you, though.
When you say familiar to me, like, is this somebody I personally knew or somebody?
No.
Okay.
No. He
Would
reminds you of somebody.
reminds me of somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Does he remind me of the vampire I fought off of Lana?
No. No. No.
Would
You're racking your mind, right? Like where?
yeah.
The auction.
He was at
In
the auction?
No. In the guide, the auction guide,
Uh-huh.
there was a photograph
Oh.
of the person who put the goods up, the estate up for sale.
Dr. Graves?
No, he was the one who was the expert who examined all of the things.
Oh, okay.
Nestor Kostantev, young man, right? Whose family all of this stuff is. There was like a photograph of him looking kind of cool and dashing, right, in this, in the brochure. This guy looks like an older version of him, but not the same person, like a relative, perhaps. And you remember the gossip, right? When you were wandering about, that there was like some kind of mystery about one of the members of this family committed suicide by jumping out of a window back in the 70s. It does not seem as if that was maybe what happened. He went missing. They think he jumped out the window, but his body was never found.
Seems more like he, I think they got the suicide part right, but somehow he teleported himself into here, because you don't, this isn't the kind of place that you just walk into with your pajamas and dressing gown.
Yes. Yes.
That
is correct.
I would love to pat him down and use all of those same skills on him that I just used on uh, the army guy whose name I totally know and is
You don't
absolutely
know
in
his
my
name,
notes.
actually. You do not know
I
his name.
don't know his name.
Nope, he's just an army soldier.
Oh, he's not the guy who like wandered off and never came back. Baron von.
The Baron? Oh no, this is just a regular soldier. And that Baron,
Oh,
they left this castle. They left, right? That's how come you know all their stuff, because they got out. But then the Baron went off on his further adventures somewhere.
Oh, okay, but this is not the Baron. This is some Russian guy who just did not make it out of it.
Who did not make it out of the castle. That is correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they just left him. Okay. Interesting. Okay.
It seems like maybe there might have been a rush. Did you want to take these things? The jewels, the gold?
I'm gonna come back for them. I do want to take the stakes.
Yeah.
I'm already carrying a lot of different things. I will leave my stakes so that I will make room in my pack for,
Okay.
I assume I also stole holy water out of a church somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Hopefully it's still holy after theft.
Yeah. What do you do?
So the dead man does not have any other information on him using notice.
Sadly, it seems to you like this dead man was probably just sitting in his mansion in Paris having tea, and something happened. Like, he doesn't have a wallet. He's just in it is very cold and wet. It is chilly and terrible. It looks like he's just wearing his silk pajamas and a dressing gown and some slippers. He's got no ID on him. He's got no wallet. It's an older fellow.
And he doesn't have like a medallion or something that might be a teleportation. Nothing like that. Nothing that might. Okay.
No.
Okay.
Pack of cigarettes from the 70s.
I'll take those.
Although they're fresh, so they don't.
Oh wait, I'll wait on those.
Very old.
Oh no, they'll get wet out in their hair.
Yeah.
And they're small.
Yeah.
Chrys will tuck them into their pocket.
There's some Gauloises, some French cigarettes.
Ooh.
Yeah. But your allies have hustled into this castle sometime earlier.
Time to follow them.
Is it?
Is there anything else in this courtyard beyond these bodies? And it sounds like some rubble.
Like some of the walls have fallen. There are signs of a battle. Like you can see shell marks, bullet holes. Broken bits of there's like a broken rifle over there with a bayonet attached. Some blood on the ground, frozen, fresh.
The blood is frozen?
Yeah. Like the whole courtyard,
raining.
it's you've still got like bits of ice in the corners of the courtyard. It seems like it could be winter. I mean, we know it's summer, but it seems like it could be winter here.
So whenever this thing phases out to whatever other existence it's in, it seems like that place might be winter.
Yeah.
Or
it was winter when this happened.
True.
And if it was winter when it happened, that's a bit of a question about where you are and when you are.
Well, that would explain why the phone doesn't work.
If you look back, you can see the Romania that you know. So, for the moment, you can still leave.
No, we're going to move forward. We're following the guys. Hollister and the gang.
Fine. The castle doors await. They are what's the word? They're open, right? They've not closed all the way. They're like
ajar.
Ajar. Thank you. I was like, there's a word for this. They are ajar. And it's dark inside.
If I move quickly and quietly, can I catch up to, because I would like to catch up to Hollister and this group as fast as possible, ideally before they awaken anybody, ideally.
You can rush inside, but again, they were quite a ways ahead of you. And you did search these bodies. You don't quite know where they are. But...
I mean, they must have left wet footprints everywhere.
It's very dark. You step inside the castle?
Yeah, I do.
I see. Well then. Inside the halls of this castle, I would like to see how I feel about this. Yeah, I feel good about this. When you step inside, this whole place is a ruin. It's grim. It is, there are tapestries on the walls, but they are rat-chewed. And the floor is wet. Parts of the ceiling aren't even here. There are multiple floors of this place, but it's wet. Water's leaking in from places. The tapestries are rat and moth eaten. You see room after room empty. There's furniture, and the furniture is decaying, rotted. But that's not all that you see. Parts of this castle appear to have been recently looted. Doors are smashed in. Things are ripped off of the walls. You can see wardrobes pried open hastily, and there's like clothing scattered, and you see more gold coins just scattered all over the floor. And it seems to you as if some large group of people came in here like a wrecking ball, ripping open anything and everything they could find and just looting anything of value, but not being so thorough. It looks as if this was all done in haste, as if they were on their way out quickly and didn't have time to do this carefully. They just took what they could, smashed what they could, took what they could, and left. And it's sad, really. There is a feeling you have, though, because, if I remember correctly, your shadow right now is 3?
That's correct. My shadow is 3 right now.
You have a feeling. I would call it a pull. Or you're drawn. You have a sense that there's somewhere in this castle that you should go to. There's something calling you upstairs.
Chrys is gonna draw one of the stakes and have it like at the ready as they go up the stairs.
You walk up the stairs. You feel as if your footsteps echo everywhere, but they probably don't at all. It just feels that way. It's just too loud here, the rain outside. You don't think anyone's hearing you, but you feel like you're loud. It seems that way. As you make it up to one of these upper floors, you can see in parts of broken spaces the night sky, the rain. And there is up ahead, around a corner. You're not around the corner yet, but you know around the corner there's something calling to you. Pulling. Not a voice, No voice, no eyes, but just a pull. You seem more connected to the otherworldly at the moment. And you feel as if there is something there.
Just around the corner?
Just around the corner at the end of a hallway.
Do I hear voices?
No. Not here.
As Chrys gets like close to the edge of the corner, they're gonna use the black mirror, your phone reflection, to see if they, and kind of hold that up to see if they can't see around the corner without actually putting their head around the corner.
You see the reflection. It's very dark, and you have a dark phone. But you see the reflection of a flame in a brazier, like a brazier with a flame.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like maybe an altar or a shrine of some sort. And in the center, it's hard to see because you're looking through the your phone.
Yeah.
But the flame is blue, and it is live. I mean, I don't mean it is alive. I mean, there is an actual flame there. Rather, it's not like the old ruins of a flame, but there is some sort of altar, a shrine.
Do I see anybody in the room at all?
No, it's actually just the end. It's like a little alcove at the end of this
okay.
hallway. Tucked away a little bit.
Then I think Chrys will carefully slide around the corner to get a better look. Stake in one hand, phone tucking into their pocket as they do that.
You get closer. This seems to be centuries old. It is a shrine. There's an altar, and there's this brazier, and there's this flame that flickers out of it. But as you look, you do not see any oil or coal or wood or anything that would allow this flame to continue burning as it flickers. I need you to make a cool test, if you don't mind.
Sure thing.
-1 for every shadow problem that you have.
So a -3. What's my advance?
A 12.
I'm not gonna make this. Okay. Here we go.
There is an extra problem available, a 5.
An extra problem is available. Okay.
And
So it's a
there's
12.
something else for you, but I can't tell you what it is just yet.
And the question is, do I want an extra problem in hopes that I can get close enough to what is realistically a 15? Because I'm still going to have to roll really well. I think we're going to roll. Yeah.
You do have an extra die if you so choose.
Just for free?
You've already paid the cost.
Oh, that's not good.
You don't have to use it now. But you stunted preparedness earlier to get some vampire paraphernalia. And you may use that now if you wish.
No, I think I'm going to hold on to that. I think I'm going to need that extra die for later, honestly.
Okay.
I might take a problem.
You use your preparedness to get some stuff, and so that stuff is with you.
Perfect, which is good. I might. Well, let's just roll this next time and see where we're at. Okay, all right. We're at an 11 now.
Get closer and closer.
So the question is, do I think Do I think an 8 is enough to have a hold here? I think that's the biggest question. Or do I want to take on another problem for an advance attempt?
As you get closer and peer into this blue flame, closer to it, peering deep within this flame.
I know this is such a bad idea, but we're gonna take the problem.
And so it is decided. Let me oh, I don't want to do it here. I've got to pull up a second, let me pull up a second browser tab so I don't mess up the one that everybody's seeing. That's the thing I always have to do when we're doing this particular system, because whatever's on the screen. So if I pull up a thing, you know what I'm saying? I know what I'm saying.
I do. I am also going to move my masteries so that they are on top of each other to give us more space on this board.
Yep, absolutely. Let me launch this for a moment so I can pull this onto the screen without making it sad for everybody else. Let me give you this. Let me get you this.
This might be so stupid.
You know, everybody makes choices.
It's true.
Let's see, where are we? Not that one. Not that one. That's a nice one, but that's not the one. We're looking for... Right, there we go. Here you go, my friend.
All right, here we go. This is Burnt Hand. I tipped over the brazier in horror, burning my hand badly. It's an injury.
You get another die.
Let's tick my injury thing up real fast before I forget, my injury tracker. And oh man. All right.
That's a 13. Minus 3 is a 10.
I hope that's at least a hold. We're gonna have to go with it.
You do have that extra preparedness if you want it.
No, I'm saving that.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You peer into this blue flame. Deeper and deeper. And as you peer, for a very brief moment, you think you see someone. A face. But you can't make it out. It's someone, but you can't see it. And as you lean in closer, trying to make out the figure in there, because in this moment you know that whoever that is really important. And if you can see who they are, you will get some very important something. You will know something really important. But as you get closer, it flickers. And you have to try to reach out for it. To try to keep that fire there so you can see what's inside. That's when the brazier's tipped over. And the flame dies, and all you can smell is sulfur. You did get the hold.
That's good.
That was the hold.
I feel like the not hold is real bad then.
Oh, it was.
All right. Let this be a lesson to you, chat. If you see a blue flame, walk away. Just walk away. You don't need to walk toward that.
Well, the advance would have been interesting, but
it would have been interesting. But then I wouldn't have had my preparedness die for what I'm sure is going to be
correct.
necessary. I'm
So,
gonna change my dye color again.
as you are there on this upper floor, you hear something. You hear Romanian voices speaking. You hear, "Hey, look at this. It's gold. This is amazing. Pick this up. We'll be rich. We'll go over here too. Oh, do you think they'll need us down in the basement? Yeah, I'm sure, but not right now. They said we should wait outside. Look at this. We could take all of it, and then we'll live like kings. This is way more than they're paying us. This is amazing." And you can hear the sounds of these guards, right? These goons that were hired. You can hear them moving about the castle, these floors, looting, drawn by their greed to the riches of this castle. You have some choices. They said that their bosses are down in the basement doing whatever it is they're doing, while they linger about here. You can try to take these guards out one by one, or you can avoid them.
No, we're gonna try and go to the basement.
Let them do what they're going to do, these armed guards.
Yeah.
It would be,
There's
by the way, an infiltration test to take them out, by the way.
I believe you. I have other plans for infiltration tonight.
I see.
Uh-huh.
Because, fighting is like fighting. Shooting's like shooting. Infiltration's like, I'm going to sneak up behind you and then take you out.
And then...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little bit of infiltration right there.
I think that's going to be very important later.
So, these guards, distracted by riches and wealth, are not really paying attention as you slip past them, heading towards the basement. They said basement, but really, it's a medieval castle, so...
Dungeon?
It's a dungeon.
Oh, good. Good. This wouldn't truly be terrifying without a dungeon.
It's not really an RPG without a dungeon.
No. Yeah.
You have to search a bit to find your way down there. It's not obvious, but you do make your way eventually. Takes you a bit of time, but you find it. The way into the dungeon. And you make your way down stone, rough-cut steps. Lower, spiraling down. Downward. You come into these very dark cellars. It's dark. There are these cavernous cellars. As you move through them, you see creches where ancestors may have been once buried. And you hear sounds echoing off in the distance. The men are down here. Hollister. Jarrett, you guess. They're up that way. You can hear it.
I'm going to creep as quietly as possible toward them. Does notice give me any information as I am, or vampirology give me any information as I'm walking through this dungeon?
Notice? Vampirology. It seems to you that this was once a great dungeon, but work has been done on it. It seems to you as if it must have been, you're going to guess, sometime in the 19th century. Most of these places were converted into wine cellars, perhaps. You can see sort of like racks of wine broken, right? Some bottles still intact, dusty, long forgotten. This seemed to have been now more of like a wine cellar or storage place. But also this place has been looted. Probably again in the 1918 time frame. But you also see little bits of crushed garlic on the floor. Not a lot, but like a bulb or two crushed underfoot with a little bit of blood. You see claw marks on the walls as if somebody had fought. There seemed to have been a fight here. A vicious one. When was it? I don't know. The book, the story, says that this is where Baron Vordenberg and the mercenaries killed the devil, Kobori. Probably was not here in the cellar, unless they found him sleeping, but still unclear. Vampirology would say this would be the sort of a place that a vampire would sleep. Maybe they crept down here and killed him in his sleep, although it does not seem as if they actually did finish the job, since he does not seem to be dead, merely sleeping.
Yeah. Amateur hour, again.
But again, in some myths, a stake through their heart will kill a vampire. But maybe it doesn't actually kill them. Maybe it only paralyzes them rather than kills them outright. Maybe it kills some vampires, but not all. So some myths would say that a stake through the heart would kill a vampire, but maybe that's not true. Or maybe it only kills some. It's unclear. As you can hear muffled talking up ahead.
Excuse me. I think Chrys would put the ultraviolet headlamp on their forehead if they hadn't already put that on.
Ultraviolet?
They're not turning it on.
Infrared, I would imagine.
And the sun one. The equivalent for the sun.
Oh, that would be actually hard to get at this point, yeah?
Yeah.
Because most people don't have UV headlamps. Most of your headlamps are going to be infrared if you're going to be doing that kind of infiltration sort of a thing.
But I would imagine that when Chrys did all of this, like...
One thing for your preparedness. You have to
I have one thing? Okay, so the question I'm asking myself right now is, do I want a bunch of garlic, or do I want a UV headlamp?
Or something else.
Or something else.
You have one sort of supernatural preparatory thing.
Okay. I'm leaning toward garlic, but like a UV headlamp has a lot of uses in terms of being able to blind everybody else in the room. And garlic really only would take care of the vampire, and there are lots of humans here. So I think we're going to go with the UV headlamp. It's not switched on. It's just like at the ready.
For good, like to get a tan, right? It's nice. UV lights for tanning. You creep forward. UV headlamp. Must be pretty tricky to get a hold of that sort of a thing. Since it's not a normal thing to get right? People don't really need UV headlamps. That's weird. So you must have had a bit of a hard time to get that.
It wasn't easy.
As you make your way, you get to the edge. You can see light ahead. If you peek, you see something. You see a scene before you. You see a cellar with earthen floor, some shovels. The earth, the very floor of this cellar, has been dug up, probably by some of the mercenaries. And you see Hollister and Jarek. And Jarek, like a mother cradling a baby, is holding a body in his arms. A body that they clearly have dug out of the ground. He's cradling it and looking up at Hollister. Hollister has a gun, and he's holding it, not pointing at anybody, but he's holding it at the ready, and he's looking down at Jarek. Jarek is covered in dirt and has wild hair, and he looks mad, unstable, desperate, dangerous. And the two men are staring at each other in a moment of tension. The body, I haven't described yet. It's not like any sort of body that you've seen. It's pale, and it's bloody. It's dressed in rags. And it is wounded. It looks as if someone stabbed it over and over and over and over. And its wounds seep blood. Its hair is thin. It looks desiccated and ancient. And right at its heart is a stake. A rosewood polished stake piercing its heart. And Jarek cradles this body, rocking back and forth and whispering to it, "It'll be all right. It'll be all right." And Hollister stands to the side. It seems as if they're at a bit of an impasse about what to do next. There's a vibe between them.
Where is the light coming from?
They've got a lantern down there, like in one of these little electric lanterns sort of seating at the side. There are about like 3 shovels dug in the dirt of this thing that was buried up. You may tell me which skills you would like to use to assess this situation. Before you do any actions, of course.
Well, notice for sure. And vampirology for sure, and tradecraft. Yeah, I think those are the ones I'm going to use.
Anything interpersonal to read these folks? Bullshit detector
Criminology
is a good one.
I was thinking about bullshit detector, but
neither one of these are criminals.
But bullshit detector is hard with Hollister.
It is. That's how you tend to read motivations, is through bullshit detector.
Let's do bullshit detector on them and criminology on the goons.
The goons are not here; they're upstairs.
Those were the Romanian voices I was hearing. It's just the 2 of them here.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic! In that case,
upstairs.
let's use bullshit detector.
criminology would be very useful on those goons, by the way. Absolutely. If you wanted to sort of think about that in retrospect, they are definitely criminals and not mercenaries. They are definitely 100%
Nice.
criminals. They're not trained military. They're not trained soldiers. They're not trained guards. They are criminals. That's the vibe you get. You don't get the vibe that they are... The assassins you saw from Behar were better trained than these guys.
Oh, okay.
Those assassins were really well trained, very professional, you know? These people seem like local toughs. It's most likely neither one of these guys have deep connections here in Bucharest. They might have some, but it's not like these are not like professional mercenaries who are here to like kick ass and take names. They're definitely kind of leg breakers, gangsters, but like local gang members. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of vibe you got from them, very much so. That's what your criminology tells you. Local tough guy criminal, like low level criminals, like, you know, robbers, thieves, people who will like knock you over to get protection money, that kind of stuff. Like that's the vibe you got from those people from criminology. Definitely.
Okay.
But not like connected. They don't give you the vibe of like made men from a mob or anything like that. They feel like very much like local small time criminals.
Right. They're like, oh, they're from the village over there. They always take the TVs. So if you get a new TV, whatever you do, lock all your doors. Like,
yeah, dangerous, certainly, right? They're certainly dangerous people, but they're not, you know, in numbers, that could be a problem. And you did not take them out upstairs. So if they get called down here, you're going to have to deal with all of them all at once. But that's your vibe. From what you see here, yeah, this, you believe, is the devil Kobori. But also your notice will tell you this. There is no coffin here. This does not seem to be a sleeping resting place. It seems as if his body was buried here, probably right by the Baron and his mercenary friends, that they, you know, buried him. You see that his mouth is full of garlic. They seem to have stuffed his mouth full of garlic, and you do recall that there are myths where in order to kill a vampire, you must stuff their mouth full of garlic and then also pierce their heart with a rosewood stake. Vampire does not really seem dead. Does not seem moving. It's paralyzed, right? But does not seem to be alive. It does not seem to be dead to you. So maybe that myth is not exactly true. Maybe at least not for a vampire that seems this old. Unclear. Maybe it works with other vampires, but that was clearly the mythology they were operating under. That you stake them, stuff their mouth full of garlic, and that will kill them. Does not seem to be dead. Also does not seem to be, it does not look to you as if they like crept into his sleeping place, opened his coffin and then staked him, right? Because there is no coffin here, and this was like, it looks like a hasty burial, so it looks like there was some vicious fight. They finally got the better of him, and then they did what they need to do to like take care of him, and they buried him in the basement of this castle, is what it seems to you. Looks like they have dug him up. He is not doing well. The vampire looks weak, eyes closed, like they're not moving. Really, really just terrible. You do get a flash between these two men.
Okay.
Your bullshit detector. Well, by the way, criminology would tell you that neither one of these people neither one of these people are those kinds of criminals. Jarek does not seem to be a criminal at all. He seems to have done bad things, but he doesn't. He seems to be like an archaeology professor who is not doing well.
Oh, buddy.
Not a professional criminal.
But Hollister's a white collar criminal, though, right? Like,
yes, Yes. A white-collar criminal. Absolutely. That's the vibe you get from Hollister. Very much so white-collar criminal. Absolutely. But there is a tension between these two men that you notice. Hollister is very hard to read, but you have interacted with him more than once.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of get some insight into their psychology in this moment. And one of the things you notice is that this moment, this pause between them is a pause because of a disagreement.
Oh.
What you notice is they do not seem to trust each other, and they do not seem to have the same goals at this moment. You get the sense they had a disagreement about how to proceed, and you have walked in right there when they have sort of taken a pause from their argumentation. And you have this sense that Jarek has this deep love for this body that, as far as you know, he's never actually met before. And you get this sense that Jarek wants to save, resurrect, bring back this vampire. Like, that is a very strong feeling that you're getting, that he is here. And you're like, oh, he's been enthralled by this vampire.
I literally just typed thrall ? Into my notes.
Yes. That, as you ask that question to yourself, you're like, yes, this is what it looks like when someone is a thrall of a vampire. I'm going to note this because I think you would note it. As far as you know, this vampire has never physically interacted with Jarek. The story that Carmen told you is that it was about dreams. And so that might be a little bit distressing about like how much contact do you have to have a vampire in order to be enthralled by them? That's a good question because as far as you know, there wasn't any kind of like, but from the descriptions, he's been perhaps enthralled for quite some time from the field trip, which as far as you know, they never actually got to the castle in that field work trip. And this deep commitment to bringing back this vampire, which is so easily readable to you. Your bullshit detector lets you just read that in Jarek's face. He's fanatically devoted to this, bringing back this vampire. And you can sense impatience, a desire to move it along, hurry it up, now, we have to do it now. They're not speaking, but you get that vibe, that like very intense pressure to move now, to save the vampire now, to bring the vampire back now. You just feel the vibration all over Jarek.
Yeah.
Hollister does not feel this way to you. Hollister does not feel this way to you at all. He also does not feel to you, as you watch these two men, as if he is enthralled at all. It does not make sense to you that somebody as close to a vampire would not be enthralled. I mean, maybe they don't do that, but like, if they can do that, if this vampire here has enthralled Jarek, why? And if we have this vampire dog, like, it doesn't. You're getting a vibe that vampires are kind of controlling.
Oh, gee.
Right? And so that in this moment, you do not see in Hollister that he has been enthralled. You might remember about him taking that sort of thing of garlic, making you take the garlic so that he would talk to you.
Yeah.
But you also remember how good he is at lying and seeming different than he is. Perhaps his vampire masters thought he was enthralled. Perhaps he was once enthralled, but at this moment he is not. But he doesn't seem different to you than the conversations you had with him. So you suspect he probably has not been enthralled for some time, if he ever was. And in this moment, you sense something about his motivation that was different than what he told you back in London. You don't think that he wants to bring this vampire back in this, like, in the way that Jarek does.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't seem to want to just bring his best friend back in all of its full power and glory. It feels to you as if Hollister is planning a little bit of something else. He's clearly here for some reason. He wants this vampire. But you don't get the sense, actually, that the story of bringing the vampire back to join all of the Romanian cousins, etc., the new power in the block, that doesn't actually feel right to you right now in this moment when you see how badly Jarek wants that, and you see that Hollister maybe does not want that. But I will tell you this, Hollister does not seem to be concerned or worried. He seems very much in control of this situation. A little frustrated because you have just walked in at the pause of an argument between them. But you know they have different motivations. Exactly what Hollister's motivation is, you're not certain. That is not clear. But whatever it is, it's been something he's been planning for a while. You can put that together 100%. And it's something that he clearly has been using Jarek in order to get to. And now we're here. And now they have slightly different vibes. Fighting, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you use your fighting skill to gather information. Jarek is not the kind of person who would be a problem for you to take down. He's an archaeology professor who seems like he's been like living on the street for a while. I don't know. He looks bad. He doesn't look good at all. He looks rough. He looks like he's wearing like what looks like university professor's clothes that he's been sleeping in for a month, right? Like he does not look good. He looks like he is certainly not in a good space. It's not great. It's not great, right? And he doesn't look well fed. He doesn't look well. He doesn't look like the kind of person that would be a bunch of trouble for you. Hollister's white-collar criminal, unless he's got some kind of special stuff going on, you could probably take him out too. I mean, you have trained for this. They don't seem particularly dangerous, but they could always call for those guards.
Right. Yeah. Those guards. Prometheus is going to put their stake away and pull out their Beretta instead.
They don't see you yet.
Yeah,
right?
I'm debating if I want to ask
But one of
questions
them
first
says
or
something.
shoot first. What does he say? Who says something?
It's Jarek. You can see that this argument is beginning to start up again. They don't notice you. Jarek has a knife. Hollister has a gun.
Not an even
Jarek
fight.
says it's not an even fight. Again, Hollister's not pointing it at Jarek because they're friends. I guess. And Jarek says, we have to do this now. We have to bring him back. We need blood. We must open the vein. Get one of your criminals. Call him down here, and then we will have him do it. We will cut him, and we will give him give the blood to Kobori, so that Kobori can live and wake and rise and come to rule the land as he was meant to. And Hollister says, I don't know. I think that seems a bit rash. I don't know if we should just flood him full of blood right now. It might be a bit too shocking for the man. It seems that's a bit too hasty. You said that you wanted to bring him back, as I do. Why do you hesitate now? We don't have so much time. We must give him blood. We must give him blood now. A lot of blood. So much blood. Please, get your guard. If you don't do it, I would. Oh, no. First off, there's no need to call the gods just yet. They're keeping us safe. I have an ally who should be here at any time, but I would prefer to not be here just yet. I think we can just perhaps take the body with us. Move the body to a different place, a safer place, before we do something so rash as to wake Kobori here in this place. I think it would be better to move Kobori to a safe house, don't you? We don't need to wake him just yet. Come. No need to upset Kobori. I'm sure he wouldn't want to wake in this place in this moment. Jack's like, no. This is his home. He definitely wants to be here. This we must do. We must open it now. We must. And you notice that Jarek is beginning to bring
is he starting
the
to move toward the
to his own wrists.
Chrys will step around the corner at that moment. And they will like have their weapon up, and they will say to Jarek, stop right there.
And Hollister goes, it is good to see you. I was wondering if you would make your way here. And Jarek goes, who is this? Who is this? And like you can see, Jarek has got just like the tip of the knife on his arm right over the mouth of Kobori. And he's freaking out. He's freaking out a little bit because he does not know who you are.
Chrys will like shift the gun away from him and say, hi there. I've been looking forward to meeting you. I am such a fan. In fact, I met one of your students. She's worried about you. Are you all right?
One of my students? I have a bigger...
Carmen.
Oh, yes. Carmen. Very smart.
She misses you. In fact, if you would, we'll take care of Kobori if you want to go, and she's waiting for you just outside.
She'll understand.
It's all right.
I must do this. I must. He's important. He needs blood.
I know.
He needs blood.
It's so important. And as Chrys is talking, they're gonna like keep getting closer and closer and closer. But they're also gonna keep an ear on Hollister.
The minute you start getting close, step back. You can see that he pierces his skin.
Oh. Does any blood like start to fall onto Cabal?
It starts to well, but it is not yet falling on Kobori. But then this this light gets into his eyes, and he goes, Carmen, you should bring her here so that she can meet Kobori. Yes. Bring her here. Bring her here.
How about you do that, Jarek? She's looking to meet you.
No, I must stay by the master. I must.
Chrys will look at Hollister with this sort of like face that says like, if you don't shoot him, I'm going to.
And there's like this Hollister looks at you and sees this face like, well, that's interesting, right? Like, well, that's an like, because he is trying to see how you respond to Jarek. Like, what is your position
Mm-hmm.
here, right? Like, it's like, what do you want to do? Like, right? What is
It's like,
the?
who's the we're playing poker right now, him and I, is what's happening.
Mm-hmm. And he sees this as interesting, and Hollander just looks at you and says, if there was any violence here, and he sort of just looks over, I'm afraid that would be a bloody scene, he says, with like a right,
Like don't put blood on the vampire. Yeah.
that is basically the vibe you're getting from him, but he's trying to make it seem as if he's just worried about violence, but it does not seem to you as if he's just worried about violence in general. It seems like he might be worried about blood getting on the vampire. Blood spatter, more specifically, it seems like what he might be worried about. And the thing is, and you can see it in this moment, part of the impasse is that Jarek is all over this body, cradling it, holding it. Violence to Jarek is going to get blood on that body. And you can tell that this is not what Hollister wants.
Well, right? For once, Hollister and I are aligned.
Yeah, it seems like he's been, maybe your guess is maybe he's been trying to convince Jarek to maybe get away from the body in some kind of normal way. You know what I mean? Just like, not a big deal, right? Just like he might have been taking the same tack you have, trying to find some, like maybe you could get one of the guards, like just, why don't
how about you go get Carmen? It would be,
how about
it would be fine. Yeah.
And you can see that he is desperately clinging to this body as if it is his own life. And he is bleeding now.
Onto Kobori?
It's not fallen on him yet, but you got the sense that maybe that's not what he wanted. He didn't necessarily want to bleed himself. Probably would have been better if somebody else did, but he'll bleed for the master if he needs to.
So then Chrys will like kind of crouch a little bit so that they're eye level with Jarek, where he's at.
Just like, he's there.
And they'll say, you are such a caring and good servant to the master. I'm sure he appreciates everything, and I'm sure he does not want you to be the one who bleeds for him. There is no way he could want that of you. There's no way. We must get someone else.
The phone rings.
Which one? My phone?
Yes.
My cell phone?
No.
The necrophone?
The necrophone. It rings. In your pack.
Chrys will like
this old-timey ring.
They're gonna keep their eyes locked on Jarek though, right now.
Jarek doesn't know what that phone call is, and Hollister's like, well, that's weird. Like, it's pretty weird to hear an old-timey phone ring, right, in this moment. This like super intense moment, right? Like, it's a super intense moment. I doubt you would let that necrophone out of your sight because it is very important.
Oh, there is no way. Yes, that would absolutely.
It's not supposed to ring, by the way.
No, it's only supposed to go one way.
Yes,
this
but you're
is
getting
very
a phone
odd.
Call. Yes, it is.
Yeah. So Chrys will say, oh man, I think it's such a bad idea to answer this phone call right now, but I'm so curious as a player. I don't think I can avoid the temptation, which is probably why my characters die. I think they will look at Jarek and they will say, I have to get this, but will you wait?
What is it? What is it?
A call.
What is this phone?
It's a phone call.
Who's it from? Who's it from?
I don't know. I don't know everything. Will you wait?
Okay.
Or
okay.
You could go get one of the goons while we handle this.
I cannot leave the master.
No, of course, of course. I'm so sorry. I forgot. You are so good to him.
Yes, yes.
So incredibly good to him. He is so lucky to have you. Bring, bring.
And the phone is this like very old phone sound, right? And it just keeps ringing and ringing and ringing.
Chrys will pull like a bandage out of their pack and very carefully offer that to Jarek and say, please make sure you don't bleed out. We'll get Kobori what he needs.
I must. I must. And the phone
In
just
fact,
keeps ringing.
if you want, and they'll like pull the phone out and lay it in front of or like because it's a big case, right? It's like a
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
It's pretty decent size.
yeah.
Do you pull it out?
They'll pull it out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's ringing.
This is such a bad idea. Um I almost want to like see if I can use Jarek's blood for this thing. Oh, this is gonna
The
add to my
phone
shadow
is
count.
ringing, so you don't
Mm-hmm.
need to bleed into it.
Oh, there's no. Oh, okay.
Mm-mm.
But
Because
talking to
it's
this thing
calling
is
you.
probably bad.
And that's different. Do you know what I mean? Like if you want to call out, then you have to
Mhm.
bleed into it. But it's calling you. It's calling you.
Well, well then, why not? We've got lots of problems. This is probably going to add another one. I may not survive, but I am too curious not to. So we're gonna pick it up and say, Chrys will simply say, "You rang."
Jarek sees this phone and sees that it seems to be some kind of mystical thing. And you can
Mhm.
see it's like an addict wanting a fix. He wants the phone. He doesn't know what it does, but he wants it, and he wants it bad. And you can see a kind of a manic desperation in his eyes as he sees this phone.
Chrys
And
will pick
you,
up the phone and, as they say, "You rang," and they're going to walk into the hallway with
and
it
and you
after
can
seeing
see
that look
Jarek.
in Jarek's eyes.
Jarek is like leaning, like no, 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 no. Right? You could just hear him go, no, 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 no. And you hear a voice on the other end of the line. I will note
It's so
this
bad.
phone does not have uh, an
Yeah,
earpiece
what am I hearing this? Where am I hearing this from?
out of the transmitter.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That voice is coming from the transmitter, which is not how phones are supposed to work. But then again,
No.
and you hear this voice, and the voice says, "Feed me blood now."
Chrys will hang up the phone.
The phone rings again.
Chrys will walk back into the room where Kobori is lying.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to look at Jarek and they're going to say, "The master is so pleased. You have done so well."
Good, good, good. Excellent.
He wants you to stand outside the room with the phone and talk to him
Hmm. And Jared
directly.
begins to move, right? He begins to move, and as he begins to unfold himself from the
Hmm.
body's not happy with you lying to Jarek like this. The body
I
knows you're
imagine not.
lying.
Hmm.
The body's eyes flicker open and stare at you. I need you to make a cool roll.
Yep. Yeah, 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 yeah.
As
Here we
the
go.
eyes burn red, and you can feel the eyes trying to burn into you and take control. And now you know something. This is the beginning of becoming a thrall.
Hmm.
There are probably more ways. But you remember stories of vampires hypnotizing people through their gaze. This must be how it starts. I need a cool roll. I'm going to give you your number. 12.
Okay.
You have penalties.
Yep.
-1 for every shadow problem that you have.
Okay.
There are no extra problems available.
Okay.
But that preparedness is available for you as a stunt.
Oh, thank goodness. I knew I was going to need that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I'm definitely going to, let's roll and see where we're at.
I need to point out one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
You have not been hostile to Hollister.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have given him vibes. You have a -1 for every person in this room that you wish to protect from Kobori's gaze. Do you wish to protect anybody in this room from Kobori's gaze?
No.
No one?
As much as I'd like to protect Hollister, I cannot take a -4 penalty on this roll.
Are you sure?
Oh man, he's probably gonna shoot me then. Because he hasn't been a thrall yet. But he hasn't been a thrall yet, so maybe he'll be okay. There's a chance. There's a long shot. Maybe the reason he hasn't been a thrall yet is because he hasn't stared a vampire in the face. That could be. Or one of the many other reasons.
I want to know
This
if you tried to protect Hollister.
I intentionally didn't antagonize him, but protection, that's a whole other one. And that's a 4.
As far as you know.
As far as I know. That's a 4 as far as I know. It's a -4 as far as I know. So I actually need to make 16, and I have 3 dice to roll, as far as I know.
I need to know if you are going to protect him.
As I know.
In this moment, as the eyes open and begin to search for a victim.
Yeah, we need an ally, I think. We're going to protect Hollister. We're going to try and protect Hollister and aim for a hold and hope I don't roll 3 1s.
The eyes begin to burn into you. You take -3 for your shadow, -1 for Hollister. -4. Roll your first die as you can hear whispers in your mind.
I'm legitimately so nervous.
Feed me blood.
Okay.
6. Tell me how you begin to resist. You don't know if you'll be able to, but you begin the process of trying to fight this vampire.
I think of that time that Lana and I were sitting on the deck and we were watching Lex play with his train set that we'd helped him like move it out into the sandbox. And so he'd created hills and valleys with this little train set, and he was playing with it. And I had grit in between my toes and my fingers. And I was sitting there sipping a vodka tonic right beside Lana. And that is the moment that Chrys brings to mind as they stare down this horror. They bring peace and love.
And that's when you notice it. Hollister. He produces something out of his coat pocket. He starts mumbling.
Ooh.
He has a crucifix, an ornate, very old crucifix.
He has the protection crucifix.
He does have the protection crucifix.
Oh, of
And
course
he
he
begins
does.
to mumble, "What does this mean for you? 1, you get a bonus die from him
Oh my
because he
God.
is aiding you. And because he has the ability to aid you at this moment, that one of your shadow is suppressed. Because here,
Wow.
with this moment, he can help you. And so, rather than a -4, it is only a -1. Sorry, a -3.
A
Because
-3. Okay.
your shadow is suppressed. And you get a bonus die.
Oh, well, then I'm really glad I protected him now.
You are
Okay, here we
locked
go.
in a
Here's
battle of wills with this vampire who's attempting to take over your mind. Your advance is a 12.
I'm legitimately still nervous. I don't know if I've ever been this nervous for a die roll in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. Okay.
That's an 11 -3.
An 8.
An
So I
8.
need at least 4, and I have 2 more dice.
Well, you currently have 1 more die from Hollister. You still have preparedness, but you don't have to use it yet
Okay,
if you do not
fair.
want to. And
I
he
think
is concentrating hard, trying to help with this moment.
the memory that Chrys calls to mind in this fighting moment is it's the night where they first started putting the Infinity Ledger together.
Mm.
And that elation that they had at finding where the dots were starting to connect, and that just pure excitement. You know, when you've been like staring at a puzzle for ages and ages and ages, and you finally start to see, like, you go from like not being able to put a piece into that puzzle
Yeah,
to suddenly
yeah,
you
yeah,
just did like the whole
yeah.
thing. Like this is the moment where Chrys did the whole outside of the puzzle. And they're calling forth that like that moment of pure elation and victory.
Yes. This comes your bonus from Hollister.
Man. Okay, here we go. Oh,
3.
okay.
That is a 14 -3
Uh-huh.
is an 11.
That's gonna get me to probably to a hold.
You also do have that preparedness die that is floating about.
I'm gonna use it.
Tell me
I'm gonna
what it
yeah.
is that you have that will allow you to, because again, that UV lamp is probably not going to be it, that will allow you to
Oh,
resist, because that's not a mental situation. Mental
true.
control. What is it about that you have picked up that is going to help you in this moment?
Could it be something that's on Chrys already?
If you prepared for it, absolutely, yes. You have that preparedness.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay, right. It has to be the preparedness.
This is what you're getting it from, right? But it could be whatever it was that you
mhm.
have on you, right? That you have prepared.
I know what it is. They wear all these rings, right? And each of the rings means something to Chrys. This ring in particular is it's made out of pure silver. And when they went to get the holy water from the church, they also stopped long enough to get it blessed by a priest. And I think that is this ring, which has a very specific and special meaning to them that we might find out later. that it's this blessed ring, and it's the clenching of that ring that reminds them and gives them more fortitude.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You may roll your 4th die.
Okay. All right, there's the 4.
You advance. The eyes bore into your soul. And you gain some insights. You get no edge, but you gain insight. The insight is this. As you feel your mind and your control of yourself slipping away, it is powerful and it is strong. It is something irresistible. But you resist it. And you know something in this moment. That other vampire, the one that you met at your best friend's house.
The one who killed Lana.
Lana, maybe. As far as you know. You hope, at least. That vampire was not this kind of vampire. That vampire was not a true vampire. It was, what Hollister said, an assign. A bride, maybe, some might call them. You know because the pull that you feel, that dark call that you feel lingering and haunting you, is not this strong. This is much, much stronger. Much stronger. You know in this moment, that dark call that you have, it's not because that vampire looked you in the eyes. Not like this. That vampire is a weaker vampire than this one. This one is very strong. It's because that vampire tasted your blood. You know it. You know that's why it has its claws in you. But you also know it is not nearly as powerful as this. This is a true vampire. But you face down worse. And this cannot control you. At least not at this moment. He cannot control you. Now, at least. In this crucial moment. What do you do?
And Jarek has moved away from this vampire.
He was beginning to move. And that's what triggered the vampire to be like, okay, hold on. If I don't get to have my friend here, I need to have a new friend who will bleed for me. And once this showdown happened, Jarek was like, oh, and stopped moving.
Man, we were so close, buddy. We were so close. Then after it's done, Chrys will shake their head for a second. They'll shake their head for a second, and then they'll look at Jarek and say, "Weren't you gonna go talk to him?"
And Jarek looks at you, listens to what you're saying, or perhaps what someone else is saying, and slits his wrists, and blood falls onto Kobori. Kobori will have blood, and if you wouldn't do it, and if Hollister wouldn't do it, then Jarek would. And you can tell in this moment as red flashes in his eyes that Jarek is not even in control of himself as this happens. He's being forced to do so.
Oh, man.
And And
Well, it doesn't matter if I
Kobori
shoot him now or not.
begins to move its head. Kobori is waking. And Hollis says, no, 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 no. This is not how I wanted it. And tries to like smack, just like tries to smack Jarek away, but it's a little bit too late at this moment.
Yep.
What?
Does he still have a stake in his chest? Does Kobori still have that stake in his chest?
Yes, he does.
Chrys will pull out one of the stakes that they have and lay it right in the chest right beside him. Right, like...
This, my friend, is a fight.
Yeah.
You have decided to fight Kobori in this moment. No.
This is...
That's good, but I need this one.
Yep. Yeah, that's... Yeah.
Jarek forced to bleed onto this creature, and this creature drinking it, and you can see life coming into its features. And you can see, as you go forward, the stake was placed wrongly.
Okay, good.
It's off balance. You go to attack it, this creature. I have bad news for you. And I have good news for you.
Okay. I'll take the bad news first, I guess.
The bad news is your advance is 13.
That's real bad news.
The good news. There's a -2 penalty if there are any of Kobori's minions present. The good news is that Hollister does not count of one of Kobori's minions. And Jarek is bleeding out all over the place and so cannot help. So you do not get that penalty.
Cool.
There are, however, other penalties you have to deal with.
Yep.
A -1 for being hurt and a -2 for your burnt hand. For a -3 to this roll. This is a fighting test.
Are there...
Yes.
I can... stunts, obviously, but are there any problems that I can take?
Yes.
Okay.
There is something else. The maximum number of bonus dice you can get is 3.
Okay.
You have, I believe you only have 1 for fighting at the moment?
I think that's right.
Right. So.
Yeah.
You can stunt with either athletics, evasion, or shooting.
We're gonna stunt with athletics.
Okay. Are you sure?
I can't stunt with evasion, and I want to save shooting, so we've got to stunt with athletics.
Okay.
Because I already used evasion. The first time.
2 die.
Okay, I'm at 2 die, and I can get 3.
You can get a total of 3 bonus die, but you can only get one from you can get 1 from a stunt, 1 from a problem, and you could get 1 if you had an ally who could fight. A contact, somebody who was on your side.
Hollister can fight.
He can.
Kind of.
Kind of.
Can I call... The doctor can't fight with me.
Nope. If you call on Hollister, that is going to mean something.
Yeah. I'm going to be in his debt. Although, to be fair, I'm also helping him out here.
It would mean something. Would you like to take... Right now you have 1. Would you like to roll it?
Let's roll let's roll the 1. Well, 2 technically, right? Because I'm stunting athletics.
Yes.
Well, yeah, let's roll the 1.
Roll the 1.
See where we get.
13. I'm going to tell you, by the way, this is a very important fight check.
Yeah, I think that this is the kind of fight check that if you don't come out on the other side, you don't come out.
This is a very important
on the other side. Yeah. Okay, 3. We have 13. We have what, a -3 as well. So we technically need to hit 16.
Mm-hmm.
We've currently got 2 dice. We have the possibility for getting 1 more dice.
And maybe 1
more.
more.
Man. And maybe 1 more.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
tell me about how this fight starts as Kobori pulls the stake out of its chest and drops it and starts moving towards you. And you see Kobori has claws and fangs and moves with a strange speed. And I need to tell you this, it's very important. 13 is your number.
Mm-hmm.
And in this moment, you know something very, very, very clearly. This vampire is very, very weak. If this vampire gets full strength, well, I don't know if you could kill it.
I don't know if anyone could kill it.
This is your only chance to take this thing out. Right now.
Well, Chrys is definitely going to snap at Hollister in a sort of like, what would they say? They would say, "Help." That's all they would say to him, is just like, but it's not in a sort of like, "Oh, help me." It's in a more like, "Are you getting on this train or not?" Like, yeah. It's a command.
Okay. And so, your second die for your athletic stunt, as this creature comes to swipe at you with its claws and its burning red eyes deep, and there's a sense of magic about it. You don't know what that means, but you just feel something otherworldly as it comes towards you.
Yeah. Since this is, well, let's roll it and see where.
Please roll it.
Oh man. Okay, come on, buddy. Oh no, I don't think I'm gonna survive this.
That's a 5.
I think Chrys goes to, like, with an athletics, they try to do a tuck and roll to get behind this guy. And it's probably a pretty clumsy tuck and roll for 2.
And it spins around and it tries to speak to you with its mouth, but it's all dry and desiccated. And you can see fangs growing out of its jaw as its flesh begins to sort of like veins start moving in it. And you take the die of help from Hollister.
At this point, I'm just hoping for a hold.
You
I don't know if that will be enough
yet.
though.
But
right. Definitely we're gonna need the problem. We might as well just let's do the Hollister
or do you want to
die.
get the Hollister die first?
Let's do the Hollister die first.
Okay.
Okay. 4. Oh my god. Okay.
9. That's a 9. As Hollister jumps on Kobori's back, trying to hold Kobori back, and says, "No, we don't want it awake fully. We want it to keep it docile. Docile." Hollister says, as Hollister's trying to hold on to this creature. You're at a 9 before your minuses. And you would like an extra problem, would you not?
Yes, I would like another problem. We don't have enough of those yet.
Well then, I believe the problem is number 50. Where are you, number 50? Number 50. There it is. Here you go. Enjoy that for a moment.
Oh, I don't know if I want to. Here we go.
You are very injured, you see.
Oh no. Oh no. Injury. Continue it. I'm trying to say continuity. Okay.
That means it's not
Claws
going
of the
anywhere.
vampire. Oh no. Kobori clawed your face and neck, and those wounds won't heal quickly. You'll bear the scars for the rest of your life, even after you counter this injury card. Oh, that's
As
gonna
the
be some
creature's
fun later.
claws come at you, and it's almost inhuman and animalistic as it rushes towards you, claws coming, and you remember the claws from before, and the wound starts opening it up again, bleeding as the claws come at you, and you have one more die.
Here we go. Man, come on, dice. Don't.
A 4. That's a 13. Minus 3. Or a 10. Tell me how you begin to attack the vampire. Hollister's holding onto it from behind.
I think this is a and it had come swinging at Chrys and like gotten across their face and neck, right? So I think we've seen Chrys do this move a couple of times. They're going to, through the pain, just judo, hip check, and try and get this vampire on the ground with the idea of staking him on the ground there. That's the plan.
You flip this vampire. The vampire has almost no weight to it in some sense, right? It's so desiccated. You flip it. You're bleeding profusely from your face, your neck, claw marks. But you think to yourself, I'm winning. You got the judo roll. You're on top of the vampire Kobori. You've got the stake, the rosewood stake. You don't know if this will kill it, but you think you can beat this vampire right now, right here. This is it, you've won. And then, before you can stake the vampire, you achieved a hold and not a setback.
Oh, thank God.
The setback number was 8.
Whoa. I needed all those dice, is what I'm hearing.
You did. You did need all those dice. Setback on that would have been very bad for you.
I imagine a setback on that is dead. Or worse.
Well, right before you can stake Kobori, the vampire, the room shakes. The earth shakes. And an icy wind blows through the cellar out of nowhere. This wind should not be here. There's no space for it to be here. And you know, in an instant, as you stare into Kobori's eyes, what is happening. As the snow comes in to the cellar, blown in from the outside, that feeling, that taste of what the only thing you could think of was magic that I told you about earlier, it begins to dissipate. And there's a slight look of panic in Kobori's eyes. And you now know with certainty, as the earth shakes and the wind blows, that whatever spell it was that brought the castle to this place and this time and this plane of existence is breaking.
Shoot.
If you do not leave now, in this instance, you will be trapped here forever. In this hell.
And
in this unspace. With this vampire forever.
We saw the other two dead people.
Yes. And you remember that person who killed themselves? That person was probably related to... You know now he did it because he was trapped here forever.
Yeah.
And there is no
Yeah.
time to finish off Kobori and escape. It's one or the other. You either finish off Kobori and are trapped here in some hell dimension forever, or you leave now without killing him.
Chrys would leave. Chrys would leave because you can always come back somehow. You can always find a way back. But they're going to hate it the entire way out the door.
You flee?
Yeah. Is Hollister running with me? Because if he's not, then I'm going to vanish.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He is. He's absolutely running with you. I need you to make an evasion check.
Yup. I don't have any dice. I used evasion before.
Please start with your first die that comes from Hollister.
Right. Hollister. Man, that guy has been more advantageous than I thought he was going to be. Okay, all right, now the dice are being nice. I appreciate that. I appreciate it when the dice are nice. I really do. I mean, yeah.
We have some problems.
We have a lot of problems.
You're quite injured. And you have a 6. You begin to run. Run. As the walls of the castle shake and bricks start falling. And as you're running back out of this castle, out, and Hollister right behind you, you start falling backwards. And he grabs your hand. And he pulls you forward. And you start heading towards the courtyard. Down the castle corridors. And then you can see the corridors collapsing behind you as you move. Him, seeing how badly injured you are, hooks his arm around your waist and begins to pull. The spell is breaking and this castle is collapsing. And you see that it is falling into the precipice? No. It's not a precipice it's falling into, it's an abyss. It's a darkness, it's a void. It is not of this earth. And you make your way to the courtyard, and you make your way to the drawbridge. There's a drawbridge. You have to make it across the drawbridge before this castle disappears and collapses into hell. And you can smell brimstone. And you and Hollister make it halfway across the drawbridge.
Can I stunt with
athletics?
Athletics?
Mm-hmm.
Only athletics?
Yep.
Oh, you used it.
You did.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else that will help you in this moment? As a hand reaches out and grabs your ankle.
Oh.
And it's not Hollister. It's Kobori.
Is Hollister looking at me?
Hollister has got his arm around your waist and is trying to drag you off. Both of you are trying to get out of here together. Desperately.
Can Kobori see me?
Yeah. Kobori's
He's got his hand around me. Okay.
Your hand around your ankle.
So I can't use Vanish unless... What if...
Tell me.
What if Chrys throws off Hollister's arm, wrenches their foot out of Kobori's hand grasp, and throws themselves over the edge of the drawbridge instead to get out of eyesight of both, to then use Vanish?
Yes.
Thank God. We're gonna
That's
do
the
that.
only way. That's the only way that you can do that. The only way.
Yeah.
You push Hollister. You throw yourself off of this drawbridge that is collapsing. Hollister, who was not grabbed by Kobori, goes, "Damn it!" but sprints the rest of the way across the drawbridge. And Kobori, still on this side of the castle, hands lost, falls backwards as the castle collapses into a dark mist. And then a mist engulfs everything. And there, on the edge of this precipice, covered in mist, you hear Hollister, very distant, say, "Hello? Damn it. Damn it." And Hollister waits a bit, tries to peer into the mists, but can't see you. And frustrated, perhaps upset, you hear him say, "Opal? Opal!"
Oh shoot. He doesn't even know their name.
And finally leaves. You, inch by inch, foot by foot, hour by hour. Please get rid of your vanish.
Does this not go away though? Out of all of the
Vanish.
edges, I think this is the one that sticks around.
I think it's an edge. I think all those evasion masters, I think they go, and because you have to get them
Oh,
at the yeah, and
okay.
it takes you, I don't even know how long, an hour, two, far too long, to climb up the side of this mountain cliff face, back up out of the abyss and onto solid ground. And when you make it there, the sun has risen, the mists have faded, and that castle is gone. It's no longer in this plane of existence. Kobori isn't here anymore. He's not dead, though. Who had the key? Was it Jarek or was it Hollister? It's Hollister. This place can be brought back to this plane. If it was Jarek, then it can't.
I think Chrys
So,
sits on the side of the cliff for a long moment, staring into the abyss, blood probably caked at this point,
mm,
leaving bloody fingerprints over their cigarette as they stare at the sun, grateful to still be alive, and at the same time, that itch that they have to understand and eliminate the problem just got deeper.
your vanish takes you out of the scene, and that's what happened. You got to see that Hollister lingered to see if he could find you, but he couldn't. Now, I have follow-up questions for you as we end, more or less. We have our aftermath to think about.
Oh God.
You have one edge mastery left.
Mhm.
Unshakable. Could you read that out loud?
This is my favorite edge mastery. Well, I don't know. Vanish is pretty high up there right now.
It was
Vanish just saved my life.
only throwing yourself off that bridge. I was like, I don't know, because they're right there. That was
I
it.
know, I did not
Hmm.
think that was sometimes
Cling
I'm
to
clever
life
and other times I'm not.
on the side of that mountain.
So here's what Unshakable does. Nothing touches you, nothing leaves a mark. If you still hold this card at the end of the operation, discard it to counter any problem. I will definitely be discarding it.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, which I actually have another question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when it comes to injuries, so for
Mm-hmm.
example, burnt
Mm-hmm.
hand,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
is are those also with me into the next campaign?
No,
Okay.
those are not.
The one that
Those are not continuity problems.
okay.
All you need to
So
do is take time to counter that injury, right? You take time, you will counter that injury, it will turn into a harm, and that harm goes away, right? So that
oh, okay.
is going. Those things are not that big of a deal.
So I
That
could
burnt
use
hand
this to
is going to
counter
go.
the claws of the vampire,
You could.
um, or the shadow, which I do not know any of my shadow problems, which I don't know how to clear at this point.
Hmm. So let's talk about what will and will not stay with you. Shall
Mhm.
we?
Please.
That hurt, it's gone. You can just take it off the board.
Yay!
The uncanny chill,
Mhm.
that stays because that
Yeah.
uncanny chill is not connected to Kobori.
No,
You
that's, Hungarian, if I remember correctly.
That is correct. So it is not yet gone. Your loose end blowback,
Mhm.
that's gone.
Oh,
It is not a
that's nice. I
continuity
wasn't
problem.
expecting that.
It's, uh,
Well, thank you.
and you just lay low. Do you know what I mean? Like that's gonna go.
Oh, I can't seem to remove that one off the board for some reason.
Weird. I got you.
Yeah, thank
I have an
you.
idea why. Boom. Hey, delete. Boom. Oh, you know what? It's just hanging out. I'm going to delete it. Remove card. Remove card. Oh, I don't think they'll let me. There we go. I got it. I had to
Hey!
right click it.
Thank you.
I had to right click it.
Ah, ah.
Um, the necrophone is still there. Oh no, you lost it. You lost the necrophone.
Nope, I did. It is sitting in that castle right now.
That is correct because you cannot take things with you. Uh, let us
Oh, I
remove
can't
that
remove that
card.
one either.
If you right click it, you should be able to right click it and hit delete. I think it's because it was from an earlier thing. Your rosewood stake is
Oh,
also gone.
okay. Oh, I thought I had 3 of those.
You cannot take anything with you.
Oh, that's right, I vanished.
That is correct.
That's right, that's right. I lost my stake.
Uh,
Man, well, kept
Hollister's
my life.
aid is gone.
Because he no longer believes me to be alive?
No, that is not why. I will replace that card with a contact. You will now have Hollister as a contact.
Oh, how lovely. Well,
Hollister, however, does
kind
not
of.
have as much power as he used to have and that is why Hollister's aid is not as strong as it used to be. He cannot necessarily
No.
suppress shadow and heat for you with the Hungarian vampires because,
He just
you know,
pulled some stuff with the Transylvania guys?
yeah. Some people are not maybe not so happy with him at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah. At least he thinks Opal is dead. That's good.
Well, if you want to use him as a contact, then he'll have to think that you're not.
True. I guess we'll find out.
Mm-hmm. But he'll be there. So you have your dark call, your uncanny chill. That burnt hand is not a serious injury, which would kill you. And that's a thing that you can easily just do a medic check on yourself. Roll dice. Roll dice for me. Roll medic.
Roll medic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If you would.
Moment. Marking off medic. Oh no, not stunting
Mm-hmm.
medic. Marking off medic. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now the
5.
dice like me. A 5.
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to
One
roll
more.
another one?
Because you have
Okay.
2, right? You get both dice.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's
Mm-hmm.
do it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look at that.
My friend, just take care of
Yes.
that injury card. It's countered. Medical attention.
Yay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. All
You get a
gone.
-1. You get a -1 to that roll because you're treating yourself, but you just needed a 9, and that was what you got. With that, by the way, with the advance, you could
Mhm.
counter 2 injury cards or 1 serious injury card. Luckily, you did not get any serious injury cards, by the way.
Oof.
If you'd had a hold, then you could counter 1 injury card or turn a serious injury into an injury card. But your injuries are gone. You have time to heal. You have
Thank goodness.
Claws the Vampire, and you have the Uncanny Chill. That dark call is a starting problem, and it's not going anywhere.
Oh, okay. So I've just got these 2. So question for you.
Mm-hmm.
With Claws of the Vampire,
Mm-hmm.
what are the, like, beyond here's what I'm trying to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Just
Mm-hmm.
transparently with you, Trooper.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I am really
Mm-hmm.
excited about the idea of using some latex to try
Mm-hmm.
and, like, make
Mm-hmm.
these
Mm-hmm.
scars for
Absolutely.
things. But I don't wanna keep this card if there are going to be more implications beyond just scars.
The card
And that is
states
my concern.
that if you counter it, the card is gone, but you keep the scars.
Even after but it doesn't say anything about like, there does not seem to be anything beyond having the scars.
That is correct. Because you will no longer
Okay.
have the card, which means you will no longer be sitting with an injury all the time, which is what that card does. It's a continuity card that keeps
It's
the
oh, it's a
injury.
forever injury.
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay, now I understand the implications of the card because
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
definitely missing something here.
Oh, it's an
Okay.
injury that just sticks around.
Well, I
You
think
would
we
have to
have to get rid
find
of that one then.
some kind of way to counter that, which would probably be supernatural.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
let's use
Mm-hmm.
my mastery edge to take care of this one because, to your
Mm-hmm.
point, I still get to play with latex if I want to, so
That is correct. You always, yes, because these scars are going to be there. And so your claws, the vampire, are gone, which I think you should be able to delete. Perfect. The uncanny
yeah.
chill sticks around, but that you're going to need to find a way to counter, is what you're going to have to do.
Mhm.
And
Oh,
we
wait,
can talk about that. You're
that
down to
drops my
3.
shadow.
You have 3 shadow.
I have 3 shadow? What right now? What do I have
The
3 shadow
doctor,
for?
the dark call, and the uncanny chill.
Ah, thank you.
Now, I will say, um, once you actually will be able to get rid of that shadow because it's not a continuity,
Oh,
and you just need to move
okay.
around. You need to stay out of London for a little bit,
Okay.
right? But that uncanny chill is going to go at the end of the session as well because it is not continuity. It's not a starting problem, and you left the city. You left London, which is going to throw them off your
Mhm.
trail a little bit. The uncanny chill will go.
I think, we're just gonna go hang out in Switzerland for a while.
Just a little bit, a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
It is gone. And so I need to ask you a few final questions, and then we are done.
Okay.
Question
I'm
1.
so surprised I survived. Uh-huh.
You survived an encounter with a true vampire, a weak true vampire,
Mhm.
but a very dangerous true vampire who has currently banished in some kind of abyss. Though, if Hollister has the key, he can try again. If, if,
Yeah.
if Jarek has the key, then Kobori is gone.
I
Do
don't know that
you?
that's necessarily a bad thing, though.
Not necessarily a bad thing. Do you do anything with the information that you've gathered?
Yeah. Actually, we're not going to Switzerland. I think Chrys would go to DC to try and see if they can get a certain set of papers out of the safe.
No, I meant you gathered a lot of intel
Oh, okay.
from this mission.
Mhm.
Do you want to do anything with this intel that you've gathered? You've learned a lot of things. Do you want to share it with anyone?
I think they would share it with the doctor. They would
Mm,
bounce things off of the doctor, actually,
okay.
especially with
So,
what they've learned now.
mhm,
Well,
mhm.
would they? Because, like, the doctor could just be I think they would call the doctor.
Mhm. But you don't share it with like your boss
No,
or I'm just asking. So not
definitely
Interpol,
not. No Interpol.
MI6,
No,
CIA?
no.
You sure?
Yeah. I I I don't think Chris trusts any government entities for some
Really?
reason. It's
That's weird.
something about getting
That's
chased
weird.
out of your own building that
Yeah,
just,
yeah, yeah.
no, I don't think
Mm,
they would share this information with anyone. I think there's in their mind, they're still trying to get to the bottom of this
mm.
because they know he's not the
Yeah.
only one.
But you did say you shared it with the doctor, or at least some of it.
Some of it, yeah. I think they share some of it with the doctor. I think they would but it would be in that cagey way that we've seen them do things before where they share just enough information so that the other person feels like they're giving a lot, and then they just ask questions and leave space open for the other
Yeah.
person to, like, answer the questions.
Your doctor knows all of your tricks, has bullshit detector, and is not going to be fooled by them, right? Your doctor knows what you're doing and is not going to give you stuff in that way. Your doctor also doesn't have information on vampires to give you, right? So there's like not
Yeah.
necessarily that space. Um,
I think what they are looking for is trying to see if he is stuck in the same realm as that castle, and if he knows about the multiple things of vampires, like that there are at least two, or if not more.
mm-mm. He does not have vampirology. He did not know any of that before you told him,
Okay. Okay.
but now you have told him.
Mhm.
Have you told him?
I think they did it in that if they did it in that cagey way where it was like where they're in the middle of the session and they're like, have you ever wondered if there's more than one type of vampire?
And you ask me when I can't find my pipe.
I'm
Terrible.
so sorry. I know, but
I
he's the
can't find
only
my
one they would
pipe.
talk to. It's so ridiculous. Okay, they wouldn't ask this question. Never mind, trooper. Never mind.
Are you sure?
I just I think they would just be cagey because they don't here's the thing, they are not entirely sure that he is not connected to them in some way.
Hmm.
Because how can somebody who is dead be talking to them in their head about things that are happening and also know so much? So it's hard for them to hand him all of the pieces that they're seeing, especially pieces that they feel are important. So they would ask questions around it, but I don't think they would say, "I found out that there are 2 different kinds of vampires, Hungarian and Transylvanian." I don't think they would do that.
And so it is written that you do not give him information. You try to fish if he knows things. He does not know these things, but you do not tell him anything. It is now written that he has not gained this information. Good. And
Is
so it
it?
is done. Well, it's a choice. to keep your contact in the dark.
I've been making lots of choices tonight. Some of them great, some of them not so great.
I have two last things.
Mhm.
And the first is, as you are, I suppose, in Switzerland for a while, you probably don't want to go to DC right away because of the laying low.
Yeah, yeah, true.
You are there on your computer. Where would you be?
It
Recovering from scars, wounds,
yeah.
injuries, burnt hand, messed up, like your own. It's not great.
I think they would be, if I may, I think they would be in Basel during Fastnacht,
Oh, nice.
where yeah, so those of you who aren't familiar with what Fastnacht is, it's everyone gets dressed up. It's this huge, like, festival that happens all the way through Basel, and, everybody wears great big masks, like literal, giant different
Mm.
heads, so you don't know ever who you're interacting with, in Basel during Fastnacht.
Hmm. So there you are. And it's one point in time when you're in Basel, you get a message on your computer.
Mm.
And I sent you a video, and I would love for you to watch it. And I'm going to play it for our audience right about now.
Don't know if you're receiving this, but this is Archangel. The doc mentioned a client he was seeing named Prometheus, but wouldn't give me any more info. It's taken me a while, but Robin and I think we've tracked you down. If this is Prometheus, the one that follows the numbers, and you've been seeing the doc, we need to talk. I know vampires are real. And I suspect you do too. Meet me in Paris at the Chat Noir Cabaret, noon on Bastille Day. I'm gathering the seasons.
We are back.
They're gonna buy a ticket to Paris.
That was your first present that I had to give you tonight. And I have one last present for you.
Excellent, I'm ready.
It's the question. You have finished your first operation, and there is advancement in this game.
Oh, okay,
You have a choice. You can either take a new investigative skill,
okay.
or you can place one tick mark. The brand new version of the character sheet that I'm building has a space for tick mark. Or you can take a tick mark on one of your general abilities. And when you get 3 tick marks, you get to add a die to that general ability. The most you can ever have in a general ability is 3 dice total. But you can start building towards increasing one of your general abilities, or you can take a new investigative skill. General
Mm,
skills.
mm, mm, okay. Ah, I could take one of those that I didn't wanna give up when I was,
That is
looking at this
correct.
before.
That is correct. And by the way, you're going to be getting the contact for Hollister. Will be a new contact of yours, but you'd have to actually make contact with him again.
You know,
You'll
let him
find him.
know that Opal isn't dead.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I am in between taking electronic surveillance
Mm-hmm.
or occult studies, although,
Mm-hmm.
or yeah, I actually or preparedness is the other thing I'm thinking of, or maybe sense
Oh.
trouble, taking a tick mark in like preparedness or sense
Mm-hmm.
trouble.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I won't make you decide
Uh,
now, but I just wanted the
okay,
audience to know
okay.
what your options were.
Yeah, one of those, I think. I might, dissuade myself when I take another look at the rule books, but one of those.
Mm. So, And so it is done. My dear friend, you have finished the operation No Grave for Traitors. Why don't you?
Ooh,
And you got a message from Archangel.
interesting. Interesting.
Hmm.
I
Interesting
wonder how much
indeed.
Archangel has told the doctor.
Well, that's also a good question. The doctor has been able to share some things that Archangel shared with them to you,
Mhm.
but the doctor can only know what things people have told him. So, because,
Here we are.
he can't investigate things on his own because he's dead. So, that is the end of this session. Thank you so much. I'm so glad
Thank
that
you.
you could be here. This is amazing. And if you don't mind, could you, I don't know, say who you are, where we can find you, and then might you give a favorite moment?
Ooh,
Also, I
ooh,
can't find
okay.
my doctor's pipe. That's why we couldn't do the scene because I don't have my pipe. I will find it though.
Ah,
It's
ah, so close.
it's important
I feel
because
like you're gonna find it tonight.
I
Like,
feel like I'm gonna find it like in 5 minutes.
I feel like you are. I absolutely feel like you are, and that is going to be my favorite moment. No, I'm just kidding.
Ah, yes. Oh, man. And you can ask me a question if you
Oh,
like. An out of
oh, I
character
can ask
question.
you a question. An out
An
of
out of
character
character.
question?
Mhm,
Uh, I okay, you can tell me if I'm not allowed to know this because I feel like it
mhm,
might be spoiling things.
mhm, mhm.
But I really wanna know who the person in the, brazier was, the blue fire. I really wanna know who
Yeah,
that
you
was.
do really wanna
I'm
know.
so
I can't tell you.
curious. Yep, I didn't think you could. But I had to
Nope.
ask. If I was gonna
Yep,
have a
yep.
free question, it was gonna be that one.
Whatever it was a shrine to that being, though.
That's not great. That's not great. That's
Mhm,
probably real
mhm.
bad. And that being was
Mm.
calling to me,
Well,
or the shrine was, something
it
in
was
there
more
was.
like your shadow was high enough that you were feeling a pull towards supernatural things, right? This wasn't like a voice in your head
Oh.
speaking, but you're like "Doo, doo, doo, doo," something. There's like a source of powerful supernatural something over there, right? That your
Ooh,
shadow.
okay.
So the thing about the shadow is that the higher your shadow, the harder it is to resist vampires controlling you. The more vampires know you and can see you like a big bright beacon. Um, and you could have shadow by having like a powerful holy object, for example. But speaking of which, Hollister has
Like
that
a
cross.
necrophone.
Anyhow, like a
Uh-huh.
necrophone, but also it also opens you up more to those things, which means when they're around, sometimes you can sense them, you know?
Ooh,
Like you could
yeah.
sense that shrine. It pulled you.
Interesting. Interesting. Not
Mm.
the answer I was hoping for, but definitely information. I appreciate that.
Mm. Mm.
Um, hi. Thank you so much for being here, you all. I know this is all pre-recorded and all of these things, but um, I hope that you all had fun. I'm Ari underscore Ventures. You can find me here on Trooper's channel. Trooper, you are absolutely amazing. You are a gem to play with. And like anytime you want to GM me, you just like tell me what it is and I'll be there. Um, Hands down. Favorite moment from tonight? Oh, right, before I get into that, if you're in Seattle, you can also find me, live. Let's see, is this airing Sunday?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
then, tonight.
Yes. Yes. Tonight, future selves. Yes.
Tonight, future selves, if you're in
Mhm.
Seattle and you would like to see, a
It's probably not gonna
paranormal
be Sunday. It's probably gonna
romance.
have to be Saturday.
Oh,
Saturday. Saturday.
then tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow you can see me live on stage at Unexpected Productions. I'll be in Impossible Loves. It's a paranormal romance where we see what happens when the supernatural falls in love with the mundane. It's delightful. On
Ooh,
our last show, we had people who could turn invisible. They could sometimes control it and sometimes they couldn't,
oh,
especially if they got very excited about a certain somebody or something.
oh,
And
awkward.
it was, oh, it was so, just uh, just imagine wanting somebody so bad and both people wanting each other so bad, but then needing to leave the room really quickly because you know that you're about to turn invisible and you can't do that in front of humans because humans won't understand.
Oh, I feel
Yes.
like love will find a way.
Yes. Oh, love definitely found a way. Love found
Nice.
such a way. So,
Nice.
love finds a way. If you want to see that show, come on down. It's 7 p.m. at Unexpected Productions. Um, Man, my favorite moment from tonight. Okay, this is gonna sound a little ridiculous. I was so nervous for all of those die rolls for the thrall.
Yeah.
I was pretty sure I was about to become a thrall, especially because the dice, you saw how they treat me sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Mm-hmm.
so like
Mm-hmm.
there was a lot of relief there when that happened, but I
Yeah.
think my favorite moment was on the drawbridge, knowing that there was absolutely no way I was going to make it across with a single dice, even though that dice had been a
Mm-hmm.
6,
Yep.
and desperately trying to come up with some way to be able to
Yep.
use vanish because people
Yep.
were looking at me.
Yep.
Uh, and uh, and then finding a way with the drawbridge and you accepting that and being like, "Yep, this is how you can escape this thing." Like,
Because there was mist coming to consume the castle, and if you threw yourself off the drawbridge, then vanish works. Absolutely.
right? Then
Yes.
I'm in the
It's
mist.
yeah. And then of course we see you later clinging to the side of the mountain cliff, and having to climb all the way up and like not die. And absolutely, too badass. Has to happen.
Thank you. Thank you. I like that was my favorite because I was pretty sure I was gonna die. I was legitimately sure I was gonna die in this campaign. I was like, that is too many problems. I do not have enough preparation to walk into this fight against this vampire. I have already lost a bunch of dice getting into this. Like, I just do not have what I need to survive this right now. Um, so I'm very happy that I did.
Mm.
So thank you. That was my moment.
Aw. I'm TroopersJP, and I just want to read something to you.
Oh, okay.
Um, the setback
Uh-huh.
for when you were fighting Kobori. Remember, you had the
Yeah.
hold.
Yeah.
You had the hold.
Uh-huh.
Uh, so the advance was 13, which means you were not going to get that number unless you had help, stunts, right? Like that. Otherwise, right? That's
Yeah.
a big one. This and you got the hold. The advance is you kill him.
Oh, nice. That would have been so nice. That would have been
Hmm.
so nice.
You
I
drive
was
the
one
stake
away
into his
from the
heart.
advance.
You were one away from the advance. Uh, Driving the stake in his heart actually would not have been enough to kill him. You'd
Oh.
have to do a couple other things, but you would have staked him, and then you could kill him, right? Like you would stake him,
Mhm,
and then
mhm.
you could do the things that you would need to do
That
to
would
kill
be
him.
half the problem. That'd be more than half the
Yes,
battle.
yes. The hold is that he does not kill you, you do not kill him, but the castle card's coming down, and you got to get out, right? So that's a good hold.
Mhm, mhm.
The setback. The vampire overpowers you and sinks his teeth into your throat. He's draining your life. Unless you've got some unexpected edge or a twist in hand, you're dead.
Whoa. So it's you kill him or he kills you or the just you gotta run.
Yeah. And would you like to know what the setback was for fleeing the castle?
Yes.
You, by the way, got a 6, right?
Yeah.
The only problem was that you have physical injuries and evasion. That's a physical roll. Um,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
setback was a 5. If you were not harmed, if you're not injured, you would have made it out. You've had a hold,
Oof.
right?
Uh-huh.
Um, the setback. These are like end climax setbacks, by the way.
Of course they have to be. They have to be.
The mists close around you. If you've got the Kastantev key, you can use it to escape, tumbling out onto the hillside at the last moment. Otherwise, you're trapped in the vampire's castle forever. Unless you've got some ally on the outside who can rescue you. But you don't like to tell people things, so then you wouldn't have.
I would not have had any allies. No, that's not what Chrys
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
Chrys does some things well, and
Yeah.
but they don't trust people, and that is a flaw.
Yeah. Just gonna note that one. Yep.
Oh my
Yep.
god, I was so close to dying, you guys.
You
And
were.
also
You
so
were
close to killing
very
him.
close.
1
Yes.
point away from having
1
killed
point
him.
away, and you would have killed him.
Ah, so
Ah.
close.
And I will tell you one more thing. I'm gonna give you a present.
Ooh.
Hollister did want to wake the vampire.
Mhm.
But not a lot. What I mean by that is he
Like
wanted to keep the vampire weak. He did not want to give the
Mhm.
vampire lots and lots of blood because that vampire, if it
Mhm.
were full strength, would be a real problem.
Mhm.
But a vampire with only a little bit of blood, just a drop here, a drop there, would be a vampire that you could control. And
Uh-huh.
it could
Mhm.
give you power. He was like, I'll become a vampire. And he wants to control a vampire and have that vampire do whatever he wants that vampire to do by just giving it just enough blood to be alive, but not enough blood to be able to enthrall him or anyone else.
With his crucifix. Oh,
Mhm.
man. Interesting.
Hollister did make it out, and he does have that crucifix. Maybe you
He
want to find him
does.
one day.
I also wonder if he has the key, because he's the one who used it to get in.
He is the one who used it to get in. Yep. He is the one who
Yep.
used it to get in, and you know he did not give that key to Jarek. You remembered. He's the one who has the key. Now, whether or not
Uh-huh.
he wants to actually go and try to re-wake up Kobori after what he saw is a different question altogether, because that was not a great scene for him either. He's like, oh, bad. So, you know, I mean,
Oh, man.
you're a way better fighter than he is. And
I
he's
did
not, he's a,
not come out of that unscathed.
no, no. And I don't think the guards that he hired would have helped much either. They're all dead, by the way. Just so you know, they're all dead.
Oh, no, I'm so surprised.
Yeah, they died. Yeah. So that's me. I'm TroopersJP. It's you're probably watching this on either Saturday or Friday or Thursday, one of those 3 days. And you can find me. Well, I'm going to be gone for a week actually, so you won't find me next week. But the week after, come back and find me for Crash Jones, the new adventure of Crash Jones. I don't know what it is yet. I do not yet have the pulpy title. I'll have to think about it because I have to go back to the old notes because I know I've spoiled all sorts of weird titles like Crash. Because we did the Library of the Dead and the Drenaxian Barbarians. We've got to find out what the next pulpy title is, and I feel like I spoiled it last summer. So we're going to find out. But thank you, everybody, for being here. And this has been amazing. And I'm going to toss it back to future me to give the big finale. Uh, thanks, everybody. I will catch you all on the flip side. Bye. Right. Hi, everybody. Thank you. I muted myself and then I forgot to unmute myself. I want to say thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you very much. And I just checked. We do not have any tips or bits to read out the messages for. So that is fine. I'm pretty sure. And I do have the title. So please join us in one fortnight for Crash Jones and the Dungeon of Peril. Where Crash Jones is going to go and try to save Dalton Danvers because that was a thing we needed to do. So that's what we're planning on doing. And I want to thank you all for this amazing thing. I will say that we have Cthulhu Confidential starting up the weekend after I get back. So in 2 weekends will be Cthulhu Confidential. And then the week after that will be the next Seasons of Death, this one for spring. So right before the school year starts, I'm going to sneak in 2 more of these Gumshoe one-to-ones, and I'm very excited about it. And I want to thank all of you all for being here with me. I would do a raid, but I can't because I've got to find my pizza guy. Thank you, everybody. You are all the best. Ciao.